Good evening, beloveds. It is I, Ade Tutu, coming to you on a Monday. How about that? So much has been going on in the world. Oh my goodness. So much has been going on in the world. And I can't say that I'm mad about it. I'm really proud. For a very long time, it's been many people who have pushed for recognition, just simple recognition that systematic racism does exist, that there's a system in place to disenfranchise people of color, Black people, right? So I am kudos to the young people out here protesting, doing what it takes to be heard, not compromising on what is necessary to make Black people, in a greater place of strength and being recognized as just being a human being, like the basic, acknowledgement. Shout out to you. Hats off to you, because it's very necessary. For a very long time, before I was even born, there has been a fight for just being human, just to be recognized as a human being with the same strength and potential, not skewed situations or situations where, the Black man or the Black race are disenfranchised and don't have the same start, don't have the same finish, don't have the same opportunities. And it was all on purpose and by design. Thus, systematic racism. It's all by design to make sure that, our white counterparts had the opportunity to make it there before we could even get there. And, definitely a sign of fear, but nonetheless, it is the truth. And so what I say to you young people is study your enemy, study the very things that you are fighting for, so that when you get there and you're out of breath, you're able to make a stand on what is necessary for us as Black people to feel whole, for us to repair, for us to have the room to have conversation about how wrong it's been forever and ever and ever. You know what I mean? Because that is necessary. If you go through any trauma, you have to come from a place of denial to a place of acceptance. And I'm praying that acceptance is granted here. Accept it. You know what I mean? Accept the fact that there is and has been a system of racism in place to ensure the mental bondage, the financial, certainly, financial bondage, of a people. That is truly what the name of the game has been, to ensure. I'm talking about from chattel slavery to mental slavery. You have a lot of Negroes that say stuff like, it's Black on Black. Blacks kill each other. We're our problem. There's a root to every tree. And if you go back and you study the root, you'll see that there were certain things put in place to ensure that our minds would be broken as a people, as a being, that our minds would be poisoned, that we would be stifled with low self-esteem, because we were taught that in order to not get your head knocked off, right? Lynched, all that, tarred, feathered, that we would keep our head down and we wouldn't look our oppressors in the face. We were taught that as a safety measure. Do you understand the magnitude of what you might feel like? You know, it's kind of like The Handmaid's Tale. And those people, those women, they went from, just something like chattel slavery to mental slavery. It have your mind gone. You're doing what it takes to survive, right? And it has all types of insanity involved, right? Because you're doing something over and over and over and knowing it's wrong and can't, change it. Eventually your willpower leaves you, your desire leaves you, and you just, quite frankly, surrender. That's mental slavery. That's what has happened. And so then you have people, a lot of Black people that are, in my opinion, gatekeepers. Because if you can't see this and you're in a position of power, you have a platform to actually teach others this understanding, but you fail to do so. And you side with those who have held us in bondage and say things like, we do this to ourselves. We tear up our own stuff. You're missing the point, and you're missing an opportunity to actually create an opportunity for healing and an understanding to those who actually share your same views, because they cannot understand the root. But you, my friend, you can. You know it because you grew up in it and you so-called made it. But what is clout, right? What is power without knowledge of how to use it? So I really am looking forward to some very good outcomes, some very good opportunities to talk about what is necessary to create a wholeness for Black people, because in this country, there hasn't been. And I mean, in order to create this healing space that's necessary with the new understanding or the overt understanding that racism have a mental shackle that is placed on your ability to function normally outside of insanity. It has that ability. If you're not a strong, resilient soul, and many of us aren't, some of us aren't that strong to combat all of that. And we have to recognize that. And we have to say, Black, brown, we're human. We might be a strong, working, God-fearing people, but we are human. We're just as human as any other human being on this planet. And we deserve the same rights that are given to human beings. We don't deserve to be slaughtered in the street. We don't deserve to be disenfranchised. We don't deserve to be told no when we decide to be entrepreneurs and seek out to get a loan, even if our credit score is there, just so that we aren't able to get ahead. Let me tell you, integration was the worst thing that could have happened to Black people in this country, because it taught us to be reliant on someone else to feed us, someone else to house us, someone else to clothe us. When things were segregated, we created places like Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We created some of the other, because there were other economic Black powerhouses due to segregation. We had to teach ourselves. We had to feed ourselves. We had to heal ourselves. We had to do everything for ourselves. And it taught us to be a very proud people. After integration, look at us. We are the most comfortable as we have ever been in the history of Black people in this country. But yet we are the most unproductive because we are dependent and reliant on those who already set us back so that we couldn't move ahead. That's an oxymoron. Just think about that. What are we getting from that? Insanity. Round and around in a circle, and we just can't let go. But we are now. And I'm so thankful and so grateful. And I'm praying that some really good, juicy things come out of this because Black people, we deserve it. We deserve a seat at the table to make our demands on what we need as a people. No one else should determine that. No one else. And you know what? There's nothing normal about someone else providing for you your own financial security. We got to do it ourselves. Shout out to young people. Keep it up. Keep your foot on their necks because change is inevitable. And when it changes, when that spirit of change comes, we wanted to speak our language. We wanted to speak the language of our ancestors. We wanted to speak the language of a liberated people, one that is not reliant upon someone who systematically oppresses. So let it all come full circle. Let the circle be unbroken. Have a nice night. O double.